Good morning, I'm meteorologist Shane Hinton with your August 6th morning tropical update. We're kicking things off with an update on Tropical Storm Debby. As of the early morning update from the National Hurricane Center, sustained winds still at 45 miles per hour, moving northeast at 6 miles per hour. You can see it heavily impacting Georgia and South Carolina at this point, with some of the outer bands reaching North Carolina already. This system is expected to eventually move back out into the Atlantic before making a more north trajectory through the Carolinas. Taking a look at some of the radar estimated rainfall totals over the past 24 hours, I think this is going to be the main impact that we feel from this system, the rain, which leads to flooding concerns. Zooming here locally between Georgia and South Carolina, you can see rainfall estimates showing nearly 16 inches of rainfall, around 9 inches near the Charleston area, 7 inches closer to the Savannah area, and then almost 12.5 just a little bit further north of Savannah. Now, this is what's been accumulated already over the past 24 hours. There is more rain, obviously, on the way for these locations. Taking a look at the latest cone from the National Hurricane Center, you do see that pivot out into the Atlantic before making that turn back up toward the north. Still quite a lot of uncertainty in regard to how far inland it moves, but one thing is for certain, it is a slow-moving system. For example, this right here, this line is indicating Friday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning to be exact, so not covering a lot of ground over the next several days, which means it's just going to continue to sit over already very saturated areas, which is why we have that flooding concern. Who's going to need to be on alert as we head toward the weekend? Well, you can see it eventually moves through North Carolina and Virginia. This icon right here indicating that it weakens to either a tropical depression or just an area of tropical moisture of low pressure at that point. This is Saturday at 2 a.m. and then it quickly moves out to the northeast and could be impacting the New England area by bringing some moisture and some tropical rain to those folks. How much additional rain could we see? Well, this is the 7-day rainfall total projections. Keep in mind, this is on top of what has already been acquired by these areas. This area is in gold, indicating around 10 inches or more of rain. You got the areas that are indicating the blues and the purples closer to the 3/4 of an inch to 2 inch threshold. So those totals are naturally going to be lower the further you move inland, as those will just be outer bands of Debby. Now, this is not the only area we are tracking. We are also keeping our eyes on an area, a tropical wave, if you will, out in the eastern Caribbean. It has a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days, either in the western Caribbean, in the Bay of Campeche, or the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is the part that's really frustrating, especially for Central Texans or just Texans in general. It's too far out to know whether or not we are going to have impacts from this system. I think the main driving thing that's going to play a role as to whether or not this moisture at all makes its way towards Texas will be that dominating ridge of high pressure, which is currently elevating our temperatures and going to be driving the heat for us through really the next week. Now, if this system were to become a named system, we move on to the E-name this year, which is Ernesto. We will continue to track the tropics for you here in the KVUE Weather Center and provide updates on air and online.